everyone. I'm Elsa Ousley with Watchman Ministry North Idaho. Today we're here with Dan Gookin. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us. And we're going to ask him a few questions so that you guys have the opportunity to get to know him a little bit better. And so we'll start with a simple question. Why are you running for office? And please explain, because you already are a sitting city council member and have been for some years. So explain that to them.
Well, so I'm Dan Gookin, and I'm running for mayor of Coeur d'Alene. And the main reason I'm running is that over the past 14 years that I've been on the city council, I've seen a gradual erosion of leadership in City Hall. We had it with former mayors, but starting about 4 years ago, we started having absentee mayors, absentee leadership. And as a council person, I've been very frustrated for a number of reasons I'll get into later. But I want to restore the leadership to City Hall. I think council needs to be represented in front of the staff. I think staff needs direction from council to, know that they're doing the right thing. And I think it's just been too long, and it's what's needed right now. A lot of people have been asking me over the years to run for mayor pretty much every time there's an election, and I've always said, no, I should be on council. But given the current state, it's time to step up and be the mayor.
Good. Okay, second question is, what are your top 3 priorities should you be elected as mayor?
Thank you. So number 1 priority is to open up communications to council. Right now, we're not really told anything. We're kind of kept in the dark. I'd like to think that wasn't on purpose, because in the old days, way back before they remodeled City Hall, there was a plaque on the outside of the city administrator's office, and it said, "Have we informed the council?" And then when they remodeled, they took the plaque down, and they literally have not informed us since. For example, this week, there's a lot going on in the city. There's probably projects that are taking place. We have 10 departments, and each one of them is providing services to the citizens. And yet we had 1 notice from staff about what's going on in the city, which is a legal notice about a lawsuit being dismissed. We get regular heads-up emails, and they're just about street closures. So we don't get a lot of information. We need the information in order to make good decisions. So my top priority is to make sure that that information flow, which does go to the mayor, also goes to the city council so that we can get information. I know that's not for a lot of citizens, they don't see that as a priority, but if you want effective government, that has to happen, and it's not right now. Number 2 is we need a city policy manual. And this is something that surprises a lot of people, is that we do not have a city policy manual in the city of Coeur d'Alene. That's council's number 1 job, is to set policy. So if we're not setting policy, who is setting policy? And often it's just staff. And they mean well. They're trying to do what's right. But it's not what's proper. It's not the way government's supposed to work. So we need a policy manual so that council can be in the driver's seat, and my job as mayor is to ensure that staff follows the policy. So it's going to be a big task. And the third thing is to ensure that we are supportive of small businesses. Small businesses are the engine that runs Idaho. Yep. So right now, there seem to be a lot of obstacles and stumbling blocks, and that city makes it difficult for business. We know one business downtown that had a terrible struggle with the city to get permits and to open, and they still aren't open. They wanted to be open for the summer. And the same thing happens to builders and developers with a plan review process. We need to make those more supportive as opposed to obstructive. So that's also a priority for me. So those are my top 3 priorities.
Wonderful. And then question number 3, what are your recommendations to mitigate the impact that growth is having on North Idaho? And that includes roads and schools and fire department, police.
And everything. And so in the city of Coeur d'Alene, we are pretty much, we've grown out. We've filled in everything that we can fill in. And right now, the next step is to grow up, which means we have to increase density. The key to increasing density is green space. Now, right now, what the city does is the city just puts the houses closer together. So there's developments in the city of Coeur d'Alene where you can't plant a tree between your house and the neighbor's house because it's too narrow. And how's that even attractive? Right. So we can increase the density in the spots of the city where the infrastructure will handle it, where the roads can handle it, where water is available, because that's another thing we don't consider is the aquifer, right. The impact to our aquifer. We can do it. We have to do it very carefully. I don't think that our current comp plan addresses that adequately. I think we need to consider all these things, especially schools. You mentioned schools. We don't really we've sent an email out to the schools to say, hey, there's a new apartment complex coming in. But oftentimes they don't reply to us.
Right.
And another thing I want to do, I've been asking the last few mayors to have meetings with other elected officials, the school board, the county commissioners, highway districts, the tribe, and there's been no action on this whatsoever. So I think at our level, we need to meet with the school board and we need to discuss these problems because our problems are their problems. Right. They deal with them, but we can make things better for them. So I think there's that. The traffic is just going to be terrible. I wish it was something we could do. A few years ago, we had an opportunity to pass an $800 million program to increase or to help with the traffic, and the voters turned it down. So we're kind of stuck with where we are. It's just when we get those reports, the increased density, the zone changes, the annexations, we need realistic numbers with traffic. And a lot of the problem is a lot of these things don't even come to the city council. They just go through planning, and if no one appeals it, we don't know. So we're not really in the loop on the city council, but like I said, my number one priority is to get that information back to council. We need to know the information so that we can deal with these problems.
Right, I agree. And number 4, the continued increase of property taxes. It's a big deal to everyone. What are your suggestions on how we can pay for all of the services needed while trying to maintain taxes lower so that people can actually afford to stay in their homes?
Well, the affording to stay in homes is another topic, but we'll talk about the property taxes. So right now, the legislature passed a bill to fix the property tax situation, which basically put us in a bind. So they cut away a lot of our urban renewal growth revenue. They cut away 10% or 20% of our new growth revenue. And they made the budgeting process more difficult in an effort to save taxes. And the result of this is cities throughout Idaho have had to take massive property tax increases. The 3% maximum allowable plus what's called foregone. We took 4% here in the city, so that was a 1% of foregone, 3% max. The financial director said we need to do that for like the next 5 years just to stay even. Wow. Now, I vote against property tax increases because I think we can cut wasteful spending without cutting services, and that's always been my goal. It'll be my goal when I'm mayor. We need a legislative solution. So we need to get 100% of our new growth. That's like a big priority. We also need a bed tax because our visitors don't really pay into the system here. They pay some sales tax, but we don't get our proportion of sales tax. Do you know, if we got to keep all the sales tax generated in Kootenai County, our property tax bill, you could pay it with pocket change. There's millions of dollars in revenue that comes here that's diverted to the state. So that's not going to be a solution because those small counties and cities are not going to want to lose that funding. But we can enact a bed tax. And everyone who goes traveling knows that you pay a hotel tax. It's part of the bill. So that would be a good step in the right direction. That would help us offset our first responders. Because the population of the city balloons in the summer. And a lot of that is what our first responders have to deal with. Medical calls, calls for disturbance, drunk people. Right. We need to offset that with some revenue from them, but we need permission from the state. We do not have what's called home rule here in Idaho, so we cannot create a tax, raise a tax, or set a tax. They need to give us permission to do that. And whether I am in the center seat next time or not, I'm flying down to Boise and I'm going to work with these people to try to get us that solution, because that's going to help soften the impact of our property taxes.
Good ideas. What is your background and how will it help the city should you be elected?
Well, so my background is I'm an author. I wrote the original For Dummies book, DOS for Dummies. My talent is being able to take complex ideas and explain them in a manner that people understand without making them feel intimidated or patronized. So that's the skill set that I bring, which is, what is it? It's communications. Right. And so what's my top priority is opening up that communications. I want the city council and the city to understand what's going on, how things are working. I want to involve the public. So reaching out with them, having meetings, being friendly, being able to explain things kind of just like I am here without having to read anything, because I understand the problem and I want to explain the problem and say, here's what I think would be a good solution. But I'm not going to be a pile driver. I'm not going to go ahead and say, here's the solution and I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to do. No, it has to be a group thing. City council runs the city, not the mayor. My job is to take their policy and make sure that it's implemented. Now, I can provide guidance, of course, that's, another role that I can play. But those are the skill sets that I bring, and that's really where I want to take the city.
Great. Okay, and then finally, give us your closing statement. Anything that you want to discuss that's on your heart?
Well, thank you.
Anything at all?
Being in the position that I am in, so leader in the community, I stick my neck out there. I often say things unvarnished the way that I think them. And that creates a lot of friction because I tend not to sugarcoat things. You're not going to get that from me. You're going to get the direct answer. And so I've received a lot of pushback over the years from things that I've said, from opinions that I've made. And I've tried to be, I'm not going to try to appease one group or another. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to think. And there was a video made a few years ago before I ran for election last time that took a lot of stuff that I said out of context. And there are people who do not like me who enjoy sharing that video. And if you just watch the video or listen to it, I sound like a real horrible person. But I think if there was anyone in my position or anyone who just expressed an opinion, it's very easy to take stuff that they take out of context and make them sound like they're saying something that they didn't. So that's going to go around, and it's going to infuriate a lot of people. And it's not me, though. You're looking at a caricature that someone who doesn't like me created. So it was funny because one of the other candidates for this office met with city staff and said, Gookin kind of comes across as he's kind of gruff. And he kind of comes across angry and, a lot of energy and a lot of force. Does he mistreat you guys? And they said, oh, yeah, we know he comes across like that, but he's really a nice guy and he's very supportive. Right. And the people who really know me know that I'm not like that. I mean, I do go to church. My wife has attended Christ the King Lutheran for your entire life, right? Yes, your entire life. And I have attended there. I've been invited to attend other churches. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the Bible lessons, and I enjoy going to church, which surprises a lot of people. I mean, I grew up in a church, and I played piano in church. I sang in the choir. So I am familiar with this, and I know all about that. I mean, I'm a Christian. I don't parade that around because that's what it says in Matthew on the street corner. We don't do that. But people take things that I say out of context. The message I'm trying to impart is that we all need to be good people, and we all need to be supportive and understand and love each other. And I think that's kind of the whole message in the Bible. And there's a lot of other stuff I could say, but it's not germane to politics. It's just, I think if I'm going to counter that kind of stuff, that's what people need to know about me. But this is a job that I'm taking on. It's a political job. I have to serve all the citizens of Coeur d'Alene, no matter who they are or what they represent. And there's a variety of them there. So I believe we need to respect everyone's rights. We need to love all of God's children.
Yes.
And we need to do the best job we can given the skills that we have. And that's what I plan on bringing to the position.
Wonderful. Anything else you'd like to cover?
I'd like to thank you Elsa and Dan for the opportunity to be on. I like what you guys do. I look forward to getting your interview form and filling it out. And I just like that you guys get that message out there, and you do so in a very neutral, fair manner. And that's what we really need to see.
And that is the goal, to treat everyone equally. That has been our goal from the very beginning. So.
And we need more people like you.
Thank you.
And you.
By God's
It's a guy
grace.
behind the camera, just to let you know.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much for coming and joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Elsa.
Thank you all for listening in.